Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. It's July 22nd, 2016. One of the top stories Hillary Clinton has announced who her vice president will be. She has picked former Governor Tim Kaine. He was governor in Virginia when the Virginia Tech shooting happened, killing a reported 33 people. On June 21st, I put out this video. In the end of it, I talk about why I think Tim Kaine will be the pick for vice president for Hillary Clinton. And I also talk about the Virginia Tech shooting, exposing an important pattern in propaganda-based shootings for political agenda. And I put out this video on June 21st. I want you to watch this clip in just a moment. We're going to examine how what I expose about Tim Kaine as governor in the Virginia Tech shooting directly mirrors what happened in Dallas with Mayor Mike Rawlings on the July 7th police officer shooting, where a record amount of officers were killed since September 11th, 2001. Let's watch this clip. I'm going to minimize myself here. I'm going to make this screen bigger. We're going to watch this segment, and then we're going to compare Tim Kaine to Mayor Mike Rawlings of Dallas. Here we go, Truth Seeker. This is from June 21st, 2016.
We're going to see some headlines here in the near future again. We're living at a very interesting moment in time. So the other headline, Hillary looking at her VP. They got these people up here, Elizabeth Warren. I don't know who this guy is in the middle. Tim Kaine is who I can definitely see being her vice president. Let me show you why I think it's going to be Tim Kaine. For those of you who follow, you're going to hear what I'm saying. The headline has Gematria of 132. That reminds me of the number of rooms in the White House. 132 rooms in the White House. Grand in Jewish Gematria equals 132. The White House, a grand structure. So, what I need to remind you about Hillary Clinton is that before she was a politician, when she was the first lady in the 90s, she made all these statements about gun control in the future, taxing gun owners. She wants a national 25% sales tax on guns. She wants mandatory gun owner insurance. So the more guns you own, the more insurance you have to pay. She was saying back in the 90s that she was going to, change gun laws in this nation. She was talking about that as the first lady. And think about what's been going on in the time of the Obama administration. All of these shooting hoaxes, all this fear-mongering with guns. That kind of started actually with Bush. 2007, the Virginia Tech shooting. And really, let me just stop what I just said. In my book, I show how these shooting hoaxes by the numbers have always been going on since the 70s forward. And I just lay it out so clearly, it's undeniable. You see that all of these stories are synced up with the exact same numbers. There's about 100 examples between 1970 and the present. Undeniable pattern. Virginia Tech is one of these that fits perfectly into the pattern. Recall in 2007, near the end of Bush's presidency, there was this mass shooting at Virginia Tech, not far from the nation's capital, Blacksburg, Virginia. 33 people killed. Those were the headlines. As I show in my book, all of these shooting hoaxes in the states are synced up with the governors. Tim Kaine was the governor of Virginia at the time. He's now the senator from the state. Look at this. Tim Kaine turned 49 years old, 49 days before the Virginia Tech shooting. 49 years old, 49 days before. The shooting was on April 16th, the 106th day of the year. Just so you know, in my book, I go into way greater detail, but I'm just going to give you enough information right here. So 49 days after turning 49 years old on the 106th day of the year. Remember, Revelation is the book of prophecy. It was also a span of 1 month and 21 days. Revelation equals 49 and 121. And it happened on the 106th day of the year, April 16th, 2007. Prophecy equals 106. Revelation, the book of prophecy. In the chapter, I show so many things. How many of the shootings are synced up with the prophecy code? How many of them coded 33 in? How they sync up with the governors and more. It's very thorough what I've done in the book. I'm creating an argument that is just completely undeniable. You know, that's my goal. I want everyone to pick up the book and be like, okay, I thought this was crazy, but now I see it's the truth. So anyway, Tim Kaine, one of these people participating in this stuff, 33 dead in Blacksburg, Virginia. Blacksburg equals 33. The day Tim Kaine's born, February 26, 1958, a date with 33 numerology. February 26th is also the date of the 93 World Trade Center bombing. In New York, this number is coded into tragedy, where the Clinton family connects to. In the movie Taxi Driver, which is synced up with the coding of Donald Trump's death to come, the man who shot George Wallace 44 years ago, the movie Taxi Driver is based on him, Arthur Bremer, the man who shot George Wallace. All of these riddles are coming together. In Taxi Driver, it's apartment building 226 in New York where the big massacre happens in that movie. 226. Been talking about Hillary headlines for months and how they keep coding 226 with it. Seeing Tim Kaine's birthday, seeing what he's had to do with these past shooting hoaxes, thinking about how close he is to the nation's capital, it makes a lot of sense that he'll be Hillary's VP.
So I'm going to pause it right there for a second. I want to expand on the 226 and then what we saw in Dallas with this 49 coding. First, 226. Here's what's interesting. The 93 World Trade Center bombing happened right after Bill Clinton became president and Hillary became first lady. If you write out 226, which is a lot like 2/26 for February 26th, it sums to 93. 93 is a special number. It represents Saturn, that is the keeper of time. It's also often coded into propaganda. 93 World Trade Center bombing on September 11th, 2001, which was synced up with the 93 World Trade Center bombing. Please see my work on that. The first plane to hit the building supposedly hit floors 93 through 99, and the second plane to hit the other building supposedly hit at 9:03 a.m. There was also flight 93 of 33 passengers. 93 is a number that they code into their propaganda that is measured throughout dates of significance throughout time. There's a movie called Knowing. Knowing, starring Nicolas Cage. Knowing has Gematria of 93. In the beginning of the movie, he's looking through a telescope with his son, and he says, "Oh, look, it's on Saturn." And what that movie's about is supposedly 50 years earlier in time, an elementary student scribbled out a code that turned out to be the date of future tragedies. To the mark, to the date, to the number of dead, to the coordinates on a map for 50 years' time. Supposedly a child wrote all this down 50 years ago, what would be the news, tragedies in the news by the numbers for the next century to come. And this movie is a mocking of the truth. No elementary school student has done that, but a gang of Masons have. And we are living out a planned reality, which is how I'm making these predictions that I am. So now with regards to Tim Kaine and the shooting coming 49 days after his 49th birthday, something similar here in Dallas with Mike Rawlings. Mike Rawlings' birthday is August 25th, 1954. The shooting in Dallas was on July 7th, exactly 49 days before his birthday. And in Gematria, Dallas sums to 49. Dallas has this 49 coding, this revelation coding, this prophecy coding, shooting 49 days before the mayor's birthday. And the name Rawlings in Gematria sums to 49. I'm going to show you this. If you come here and type in on this calendar, this calculator, using English reduction, notice how the name's Rawlings sums to 40. With S's, however, there's a rule. When there's an S, you can add 9 more in a word. This is because S is the 19th letter, and it's the only letter you have to add together twice to get to a single digit. That's what happens in this reduction method. You make each letter a single digit, then you add them together. S is 19, so 1 plus 9 becomes 10, and then you have to do it again. 1 plus 0 becomes 1. So S can be 1 or 10 in this methodology. If you make S 10, the name Rawlings also equals 49. The police chief in Dallas, Mike Brown, that's not his name. His name is David Brown. David Brown, 49. Tons of 49 coded into the Dallas shooting and coded into all of these shootings throughout history, which was the point I was making in the video. All of these numbers interconnected. Here is the police chief in Dallas, David Brown. Somebody pointed out that he looks a lot like L.A. Reid, the record label executive. L.A. Reid, interestingly enough, also has that Gematria 49. Here's L.A. Reid right here. Some people theorize that these people who sell us out in the media are celebrities from other positions. And I listen to that theory. I'm very skeptical of it. You know, I haven't seen a lot of evidence, but this L.A. Reid and David Brown, to me, seems like a possibility, especially with the Gematria backing. It's interesting. So the point's been made, the parallels have been established, and as I show in the book, all throughout history, these same number patterns have been followed again and again. Check out my more recent work on the Baton Rouge shootings, the governor of Louisiana. There's a lot of stuff I've covered in recent weeks showing these same patterns. With regards to CNN's front page right now, I'll also show you this since we talked about 93, the 93 World Trade Center bombing. This is the headline we saw on CNN, Clinton picks Kaine. And the words they choose are always encoded with gematria that is significant. First of all, today's news story comes on a date with 45 numerology, Hillary Clinton trying to become the 45th president. Her husband was number 42. NYC equals 42. They got the disaster in NYC shortly after taking to the White House. If you add 42 and 45, it sums to 87. The name Clinton, the big way, sums to 87. 33, the small way. And again, from Hillary's birthday to Inauguration Day will be 87 days. Donald Trump picked his vice president as Mike Pence. Mike Pence also equals 45, should be noted. But Clinton picks Kaine. Here's what stands out to me about this gematria. 185.77, exactly like World Trade Center, exactly very similar to Donald Trump, 185 and 68. The World Trade Center project started in 68. With regards to 77 and September 11th, you should know this as well. September 11th sums to 77. The Dallas shooting on 7/7 was the worst loss of life for a police department since September 11th. Police department equals 77. Police officer equals 77. 7/7 shooting. History by the numbers. Anyhow, all of these numbers are interconnected, and the World Trade Center was a tragedy by the numbers on a bigger scale, but tragedies before it, which were very similar, had come according to the same numbers. So the point I'm trying to make in saying that, if I explained it clearly enough, is these numbers, they trace to World Trade Center, but they are more than that. They're numbers that show up again and again in tragedy. And the World Trade Center example is just so clear because of Hillary and Bill's connection to it as President and First Lady, and then Tim Kaine sharing a birthday with that date. Tim Kaine turned 35 years old the day of the 93 World Trade Center bombing. The movie Falling Down came out that day in history. Michael Douglas. I guess we can finish up the video that I put out. Let's see if I said anything else that was interesting.
There might be numbers for other people too. But, you know, I doubt Hillary will have a woman vice president. Tim Kaine, a guy who makes a lot of sense. Governor and senator, been around. You know, he's down for the cause. He's one of the hoaxsters. They all are. His birthday, though, that's what wraps it up for me. And, again, it always comes back to prophecy. White House equals 52 like prophecy. These people always syncing everything up by their prophecy numbers. So I'm pretty sure we'll see Hillary announce Tim Kaine as the VP. This story comes the day after yesterday. Yesterday, the Republicans in the Senate rejected gun control proposals. People in this country can't see what a big show it is, and I don't know why. I've seen it since I was a kid. You know, politics is just bogus bullshit, always recycling the same narratives. You know, something I learned when I was younger is it always comes down to the 3 G's in America. Gays, guns, and God. The majority of people are wrapped up in those issues. The other one would be abortion. You know, there's so many people that vote just based on that. I'm voting for the person that thinks this way about homosexuality. I'm voting this way, you know, based on how they think about guns. People just trap themselves in these issues that are just traps. They hang these same issues like carrots in front of us so that we go along with their bullshit narrative. Notice how nothing ever changes. They'll make it seem like it's so close, it's so dramatic, this is about to happen, or you better vote for this. Always the same. This country's an ongoing machine that has a few tricks in its bag, and it's all it needs to dupe the masses, apparently. I noticed the date of this story was a date with 42 numerology. The word gun equals 42. You know, there's no way they're going against the guns on 42 Day. Senate rejects gun control proposals at Gematria.
Truth Seeker, can you see that there's a 414 on the screen? I'm sorry, I meant to make this bigger. 414. I didn't catch this the first time around, but they were coding this all over the false flag in France. False flag has English Gematria 414, and think about it. They keep giving us these false flag attacks by the numbers for part of this ongoing political narrative. They're coding false flag into the headline about the political debate. This is what it is in America. Contrived news for contrived politics, all part of the grand duping. I don't know how anybody can come to my channel and keep saying this is all coincidence. I've been showing the same patterns the entire time I've been here, and with each passing day, you know, the pile of evidence grows. The pile of correct predictions amasses. You would think the whole world knew about Gematria by now. One can only wish.
Gematria of 135 connected to the key of David, this important thing about prophecy in Revelation.
Prophecy by false flag.
Elizabeth Warren getting in on the tweets. The vote was supposedly 53 to 47. Shooting equals 53. 47, their Masonic number. You look at what these votes are in the Congress, you can see how they're by the numbers too. Nothing but a bunch of actor agents just playing their part. I don't know if there's a single real person in the Congress, you know? If they are, they're rare. So that pretty much wraps it up. Covered the
All right, we'll close it out. You know, what you need to do if you're concerned and you want to stop this is you need to start talking to your friends, your family. Keep presenting them the facts. You can also make phone calls to people such as Mike Rawlings. Leave a message for his secretary. Write him an email. You know, 100,000 of these phone calls, emails a day. These people won't have any choice but to submit and give up. Then the next thing to do is hold them accountable, you know? Is Texas a state with the death penalty? What is it to dupe hundreds of millions of people with scary stories of fear and killing all the time? You know, and then go before the TV and say, you know, pray for the victims. You know, kumbaya. These people are the biggest frauds there ever were. They deserve the steepest consequences as a result. Until next time, Truth Seeker.